Well, the thing is to do this systematically.
Follow the simple honeybee.
Systematically sounds nothing like Simple Honeybee. I know part of the joke is how simple Pooh is, but who hears Matic as honey? At least give it an effort.
As you said, Pooh is very simple. Even if most people wouldn't mistake those two words, Pooh would. You answered your own question.
Did you let me go?
I suppose I did.
Is this movie actually trying to depress me? We are almost an hour in, and it's still basically the children's version of Remains of the Day.
That is not a problem because the depressingness of it makes the happy moments happier because of all the sadness. It's not a bad thing. That's just you.
Pooh, you're right. You are a bear of very little brain.
You'd have to be an irredeemable dick to be harsh toward a cute, innocent bear like Pooh, voiced again by the great Jim Cummings.
That's the point. You are supposed to be mad at him for yelling at Pooh. Even he realizes it later and regrets it.
Oh, yes, of course, I've grown up, haven't I?
Sure, but at that depth you would have to have been standing well above the water even as a child, so not sure what growing up has to do with anything.
He was a kid with a big imagination, so to a child, he's going to perceive things differently, even if he was taller. He just would have imagined it being bigger because he was a kid.
He has hair everywhere.
What, like more than usual? He's clean-shaven and you can't see any other part of his body.
As you said, they can only see his head, and his hair is really messy, so to them, he just has hair everywhere.
How dare you pretend to be Christopher Robin? He'd never say such a thing.
Good God, this section of the movie is so much like Alice in Wonderland that I'm absolutely positive that Ewan McGregor's gonna start futterwalking.
Why? Because someone that was a kid and went to this magical place returns and they don't recognize him? Even then, the reasons are completely different, the tones are completely different, the ways they came back are completely different. These films are nothing alike.
This goes on for some time.
But that's a good thing. Christopher Robin is finally regaining his childlike wonder and innocence, and it's such a sweet, beautiful thing, so it kind of has to go on so we can see like he's finally being Christopher Robin again.
Well, I am a bear of very little brain.
No, Pooh. You are, I think, a bear of very big heart.
Backhanded compliments. Can someone do a geography check on the 100-acre wood? 100 acres isn't even 2/10 of a square mile, and there seems to be a lot of space here. Plus, isn't all of this in some sort of magic tree in England that's somehow bigger on the inside? Wait, is it a tree TARDIS? Is it his treatise? Is Winnie a Time Lord? Oh my god, he's Dr. Pooh!
Well, they filmed this at the actual 100-acre wood, which is actually the 500-acre wood. So it would be 500 acres, which is why there's all that space.
What's a Madeline? Is it more important than your case of important things?
Ah, these naive woodland creatures have so much accidental wisdom. This is work more important than your daughter theme is a dead horse that's been beaten so much that it's really just a big crater in the ground. Anything resembling a horse is long gone. This moment is brought to you by the book Noses and Things That Are Directly on Them.
A film's message doesn't need to be super subtle for it to work, it just needs to be executed well. And I'd say this film's message was executed well.
Christopher tries to run to wherever he's going before his wife and daughter see him, and his daughter, of course, opens the window at the exact worst time. Deus Ex disappointed?
That is not what a Deus Ex Machina is. If anything, you could say it's a bit convenient, but they're in the countryside, it's a nice day out, and she's taking a break from her studies. Like, I think most people would open their window at that point.
Well, I needed to make room in its briefcase for the real important stuff.
Seeing as how high-strung C-Rob has been so far, even after his fun time with the Pooh Gang, is there any way he didn't check his briefcase to make sure all his papers were in there before he left?
Yes, because he was in a hurry to get back for the meeting.
It's going to be no fun like this at boarding school, Pooh.
Or in this movie, apparently.
God, I already explained this. The reason the film has a dark tone at times is so the happy moments are happier, and there have been those happy, sweet moments.
If Mycroft Holmes was playing golf all weekend instead of working like he said he was, then why did he bring the clubs with him to work? Why didn't he drop them off at his house? But I guess somehow Christopher needs to know that his boss wasn't where he said he was so that he can finally quit his job to support his family. Wait.
We don't know when he got back, so it is possible he just went from wherever he was playing golf to work. And while it's not a concrete answer, I'm I'm just saying, with the evidence we have, it's a decent assumption to make. And also, Christopher doesn't quit his job.
Also, couldn't he be playing after the meeting? Why would Sob and Robin automatically assume he's been shirking his duties?
While that is true, it would still raise suspicion.
Hey, what the... There's a digger looking right at me, but I'm the only one.
But reflections do occur in nature, right? They do have still water occasionally in the wood, don't they?
You are aware that in the many adventures of Winnie the Pooh, Tigger and Pooh both thought that their reflection in the mirror was another them. So this is just a thing in that world for them. And also, reflections in the water don't look as real as reflections in a mirror.
Thank you, officer.
Thank you. Thank you, Orifice.
Orifice? How is orifice any easier to say or more known a word than officer? If Pooh knows the word orifice and not officer, I suddenly have a lot more questions about the things that go on with this 100-acre wood.
Pooh gets words confused. This isn't a problem.
Hey, you.
That's my father there.
Convenient Winslow truck is convenient.
Yes, but the Winslow building is close by, so it's not a stretch.
I can't decide which is more unlikely, that the suitcase would remain upright, that no one would have flagged this vehicle down yet, or that this rope would somehow be this securely tied on both ends. So since I'm in doubt, let's go with all three.
There are living beings in the suitcase, so that probably keeps it from going upright. The rope being securely tied on both ends, so, and the reason it wouldn't be flagged is because the vehicle's just doing its job. It's not really causing a ruckus. There's no reason to flag it.
London's a big city, right? Like a really big city. I mean, the odds of these stuffed animals landing exactly on this windshield have to be, what, 100 zillion to 1?
Yes, but as I said, the Winslow building is close by. They came from the Winslow building, and the toys and Madeline are also heading to the Winslow building, so it makes sense they would cross paths like this.
Headed Woozlewards.
Winslow.
I know Christopher Robin speaks Pooh and Friends, but why is it so easy to derive Winslows from Woozle words?
If you were being honest, you would have remembered this scene.
Do you know what'll happen if I lose one single sheet of this? Winslow will eat me for breakfast.
A woozle will eat you for breakfast.
Yes, a great big woozle will gobble me up.
So that means Christopher knows that Pooh and the gang could mistake Winslow for Woozle because Pooh did.
These papers in this open box, after traveling behind this vehicle for this far, is the very definition of something that just can't even.
The toys were on top of the papers the whole time, so they would be protected by being under them.
Also, considering how much this movie's pounded the relative unimportance of these papers, it's kind of hard to feel bad or worry about them. This is not like Michael Douglas's stupid book in Wonder Boys here, where the book has been set up as something truly important. But I'd remove 100 sins right now if Robert Downey Jr. showed up trying to retrieve the papers as they fly around.
We know that, but she doesn't, so it makes sense that she would think, oh no, this is horrible, because she doesn't realize that, and we're still unsure if Christopher has realized the unimportance, so it does work.
You're safe. That's all that's important. Not my papers.
Well, I'm glad we have reached the moral of the story portion of the film, because it means it might finally end. I do have to say, both things can be important. Just because one thing is more important than the other doesn't mean the papers have to be meaningless.
Yes, but since he was worried sick about his daughter, it makes sense that he doesn't care about the papers anymore and is only concerned about her.
And I'll read you a bedtime story every night.
I'll choose from now on.
Ah, but haven't we all learned lessons about having fun at this point? He wasn't going to be reading her history books after his life-changing experience, was he?
No, he wasn't. She was just making sure.
How's this meeting still going on if they've already fired the team? Did they stop the meeting in the middle to fire them and then tell them to pack up and then reconvene the meeting?
Yes.
Christopher Robin tells the executives at a luggage company to lower their prices so the common man can afford their products and that they can earn more money. And thank God Christopher works at a high-end luggage company, because this same idea wouldn't work at a financially troubled company that already sold to the working class stiffs.
Yes, but if he didn't work at that, he wouldn't have even thought of it. This isn't a problem. It's just a solution to the business he works at.
I told you I was working.
If this guy ever commits a murder, he'll be carrying the body up in an elevator with several witnesses and leave the murder weapon in his coat pocket. Am I comparing a day of golf with a serious crime of murder? Yes. Yes, I am.
You acknowledging that does not change the fact it's a dumb comparison.
When you do nothing, it leads to the very best of a something.
We've now hit the part of the picture where the characters are just okay with everything because the movie needs to end. To think that this stuffy businessman is this open to Christopher's unpreparedness, leaving midway through the meeting, talking a bunch of nonsense about heffalumps and woozles, and coming back with an idea to change the entire philosophy of the company is laughable. But I'll go along with it if it gets me to the credits.
There is nothing in the film that shows that this businessman is a jerk or, I don't care about your buddy. If anything, what we see shows that he's a reasonable guy.
Also, go ahead and stay home and try using this logic on your boss tomorrow. See how that goes for you.
This movie doesn't need to be realistic. Also, it's just not a flaw that one boss in one company in this movie is somewhat reasonable and thought it was a good idea. It's just not a problem.
So, this philosophy would explain why the movie truly feels like a whole bunch of nothing.
It doesn't, though. Okay, so now that we are done, here are my quick thoughts on the film itself. I love Christopher Robin. It's one of my favorite Disney movies in a long time. It's so wonderful and sweet, and I know there's some nostalgia, but I also just think it's a really good movie. The reason I decided to do this video is because I don't like CinemaSins, didn't like this video, and the people like JXE and the Birdman haven't covered this one, so I was like,